we see that with all their great work and bringing awareness about that, we now have classes like this. So the great thing is it's offered here, but not necessarily everywhere. So I think we are privileged to have courses in Asian American Studies and Ethnic Studies, Latinx Studies, and so on, that has been decades of fighting for, especially on this campus. And then you were able to read the first chapter, an intro of Mountain Movers. So we're going to go into activity. Let me see, what time is it? 10:07. Real quick. So I'm going to show you a clip of that film, Turning Point. And I want you to kind of just reflect upon how the strike is being portrayed in the film, one, and then think about how strikes and protests have kind of been taught to you, maybe from a friend, a sibling, or a family member, or the news. How do you kind of like define a strike or protest, especially with the recent stuff? There's so many examples of like what a strike or protest is. And then when is it appropriate for social change? And there's many recent examples of that too. So I just want to give you a clip of the film to kind of just remind you what strikes looked like back in the day, and then kind of reflect upon your own experiences. So I'll show a short, maybe a couple minutes of it.
And there's still classes.
I think there's some audio issues. I should go back.
Don't you have enough? Don't you?
In December, the tensions erupted.
Bang, bang, Black Power. Get ready, brother. Bing, bing, bang, bang, power. Black Power. Ready, do it. I said back off. Admit it. Get away. Get away. Take a picture of me. We are winning the strike. We're going to continue the struggle as we have up to now. We'll continue to move the ways we have been moving up until now until we close.
Okay, so I want you to kind of draw some of those images, or maybe some of the words that they were, or some of the things that they were saying out of this short clip that you saw. And then I'm going to break up into groups to kind of discuss that. But I need to share the Google slide for sure. Let's see. And I don't have the Google slide link because my thing went down. Okay. So on the Zoom chat, here is the Google slide link. Let me know if you could open it and edit it. Okay. And now the breakout rooms. I'm gonna assign you in the breakout rooms that you initially were in, just to have consistency with that. So it is 10:12, so about 10:17. what are your initial thoughts of strikes and protests? What did you see in the film? And maybe how do you kind of like understand it today with the recent political environment? So see you at 10:17. Olivia, did you say you were leaving earlier?
Yeah, 10:30. I only stay an hour.
So
I always like those videos. Always are just like wow because I know the campus. I see it.
oh yeah,
Like oh shit.
there's the business building.
Yeah.
There's this, what's it called? The quad.
Professor?
Yes. Oh, were y'all not assigned? My bad.
It's all good.
Marcus, you should be assigned. You should be in group 7. You don't see an
yeah,
invite somewhere?
No, I don't see like the little pop-up thing.
Do you have a join breakout room in the like bottom of your thing?
No.
Should.
Yeah.
Oh,
Carl,
wait. I got it. Thank you.
Carl, I'm going to send you to room 2.
Okay. Thank you.
I think something happened. Wait, is this the same groups? Because I remember we, it doesn't matter at this moment, but they might be new because of the issue earlier. So
When you went down earlier, we all just went, is he just pausing or something? Or it was pretty funny.
how long was I frozen? I heard you say frozen or something. And then after that, I was like, uh-oh, gotta figure something else out.
You were gone for like 2-3 minutes.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah. I talked with everyone though, it was fine.
Thank you. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I'm having issues. Maybe it's Zoom in general. So I'm just gonna come back real quickly and just get everyone's thoughts. I don't think I'm gonna go through every group because that'll take forever. But who should I pick on is the question. Jasmine's group. I'll pick Jasmine's group. It'd be nice to hear from everyone, but because of that weird whatever the hell happened, we have what, 20 minutes left? 30 minutes left.
30 minutes.
Oh, that's enough time. Oh, I wanted to do that survey thing. Still. What did I say, 10:17?
Yeah.
Okay. They're gonna have to think on their feet. 5 minutes is my go-to at this moment. Sometimes if I give them 10 minutes, they're like, I'm done in like 2 minutes. So
They are not right. I mean, some of them have written, some of them have not.
yeah, I see that. So it looks like some groups are on it and some groups aren't. That's fine. I'm not going to reprimand them. But I will start off with probably Jasmine's group.
I actually think I had a class with those 3. I think those 3 were in a class together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jasmine, Megan, and Nee.
Yeah. Or at least Megan and Yi.
Jasmine was in my class at City College. She was good.
I know in our AAS106 like Discord from Irene's class, someone messaged because apparently someone started a Reddit thread about Irene.
What did it say?
I don't know why. I didn't look at it yet because I think they were just asking questions about her because like students use Reddit and like we all you know, just like what her class is like. I just thought it was so funny that she has a Reddit thread now about her.
That's cool. Hopefully it's positive. I just see all the Rate My Professor stuff, and I have the range of people. Some people don't like group work. Oh, people are already coming back. Okay. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Alrighty. We got 7 back. We'll wait for the rest to come back in. But Jasmine, Megan, you'll be the first one up. Or at least the example for now. So hopefully someone could kind of speak on your behalf. Okay, it looks like we're all back. So I have breakout room number 3. It's Jasmine, Megan, and me, and I kind of want them to share what they discussed. And after that, we'll kind of open it up to the rest of the class and kind of fill in the blanks if there's something that also needs to be kind of described. So I'll give the Zoom floor to Jasmine, Megan, and me.
So basically, in the film, the strikes were seen as very unruly and very troublesome because of how much, like, because of how loud they are and all, and like just causes so much unnecessary, quote unquote, unnecessary, like, chants and whatnot. And strikes have been taught to me as very moving, and like a lot of people banding together as a community to have others, such as companies, the board, or like anything, to perform a particular action for the better cause of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And when our strikes or protests appropriate for social change, they're appropriate when, like I said, a majority of people collectively believe in a cause for progress based on morals. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we all wrote together.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. So oftentimes we hear about strikes or protests, and at least in the news, they're often portrayed as something very negative, troublesome, inconvenience to people. So that's a common thing that's brought up. I think I have something in the chat. I was wondering when strikes would be considered inappropriate. So when would things be inappropriate? Anyone have I have my 2 cents on that, especially with the recent thing at the Capitol. But other thoughts? When would a protest be inappropriate or a strike?
I think in maybe like a broad sense of like thinking of like strikes and protests, they should always be some way of inappropriate. Like a strike or a protest is happening because you're trying to go against the grain, and like protesters are trying to fight against something. So there's always going to be that like pushback or like something that makes protesting feel like awkward maybe, or like bringing up hard conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So there's obviously a certain tension or conflict rising when a strike or protest is held. And depending on what side you're on or what hat you wear, sometimes protests could be appropriate or inappropriate. If I'm wearing my organizer hat, there can be times of inappropriateness. And what I mean by that is the community ready for a protest or strike? Or have organizers planned out months in advance how to do this where everyone's safe? If not, then we don't move forward. If so, we do move forward for the strike or the protest. So those are things you consider in terms of that. Other thoughts on this? That's from an organizer side, but yeah. And then with the recent stuff at the Capitol, some may see that was inappropriate or appropriate. And if you've seen both sides of the news, it kind of follows that narrative. Let's see, makes sense. Okay, cool. So strikes, at least in my family, are frowned upon. My parents don't want me out there for sure. But there are actions, events, protests that are safe, depending on the organizers and how things are planned. I bring my children out to certain marches and actions for sure, because I know who's planning them. I don't necessarily just go haphazardly, oh, that sounds cool, I'll just bring my 2-year-old son out to this. That's not responsible, actually. But if I do believe in the cause and how things were planned, then that's when I think I would feel safe enough. And if I don't know the organizers, sometimes I am part of organizations. We make our alternative plans if things go down. So yes. Cool. So this is just I guess a start to, we're going to talk about activism in our class. We have folks in this class who probably haven't attended maybe a protest or an action, and maybe this is your first time learning about certain issues. So we're going to have a range of things of learning about it, and then the ways in which resolving or addressing issues in our communities. So this is just how even our department or how this class came to be. So, all righty. What time is it? 10:23. Okay. So, other thoughts from the class around strikes and protests? I just wanted to open out to folks. Okay. So, like I said earlier, we're coming into this class with probably different experience backgrounds and understanding of social justice or issues in our community. And I wanted to do this survey. Are folks familiar with Cahoots? Yeah. Kind of some great interaction, different types of ways to kind of draw a conversation from folks. But let me give you the link for Cahoots. So yeah, basically I'm going to give you a code, and then each of you will log into Cahoots. Just go kahoot.com, and in that you don't have to sign up for anything, don't purchase anything, you just get to play. It's kind of like online quiz. And as I find the link, where's my Cahoots? Kahoot, sorry, not kahoot.com. Where are you? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to share the Kahoot page. I hope everyone is logging into Cahoots right now. I'm so ready. I forgot which cheesy music I picked. Right, that's not the Kahoot page. That's my PowerPoint. Oh, there you are. Okay. So okay. Everyone on Kahoot, Kahoot it. Could I link it in the chat? Can I just link this? There's the cheesy music. Here's the link from what I'm on at this current moment. This is the, what's it called? Game pin that you enter into the game. And then it looks like a lot of people are already on. So there's no right answer or wrong answer. I want you to respond from your gut, like your first initial reaction to the question, and be as truthful and as honest as possible. Yeah. So how many we got? 21? How many people in the class? 26. So I should have at least 24. Are there people who have challenges trying to go on? Approaching. Okay. I want to have everyone in the quiz, but I have 21 out of the 26. So I feel like I just lost someone. Hopefully it's just your connection stuff. I'll wait 10 seconds for the stragglers, and then I'll start the game. For those who've taken my class, and I know there's a couple of y'all, I know you've gone through this already, kind of reflect upon the first time you took it or took the quiz, and kind of think about like how much you've grown or how different you are now from that moment. So just some guidance on that, because I know there's a couple of my students in here from other classes. Okay. So what is social justice? So there's 10 questions. Does racism exist? Hell yeah. It's just a thing of the past. It's all made up or unsure. So your gut reaction to these. So I want folks to keep in mind the numbers. But in this particular class, it seems like you're all, at least with this question, on the same page. It seems like a couple people didn't respond, but let's move forward. So just keep in mind what the questions are and the responses are. Second question, does sexism exist? Hell yeah, it's a thing of the past. It's all made up and unsure. It's all made up. 1 and 20 people said yes, it does exist. Alrighty. Next one. Does heterosexism exist? What I mean by heterosexism is, does homophobia exist? Okay, so 16 of you believe that, yes, there's inequality in the sense of, how to explain this? Some people believe that, yeah, same-sex marriages shouldn't exist, or that homophobia is non-existent. So two people said it made up, and 2 are unsure. Okay. Does classism exist? Yeah, hell yeah, it's a thing of the past. It's all made up or unsure. Okay, so classism is like socioeconomic inequality in society. So 18 of you said yes, it does exist. 1 person said it's part of the past. 1 other said it's all made up, and then 1 said unsure. Next, would I be able to define racism to someone? Yes or no? I would be comfortable or I would not be. So I think initially we asked, does it exist? And most of you, or all of you said it does. In this case, you're able to talk about it or able to explain it, but some of you might not be comfortable in explaining it. Good to know. Second one, would I be able to define sexism? I would be comfortable, I would not be able to. Similar to racism, a majority of you would be okay, comfortable talking about it, and a number of you, 5 of you, wouldn't be comfortable talking about sexism. Would you be able to define homophobia to someone? Similar to racism and sexism. Okay. Classism, would you be able to explain it? Interesting. This one's the higher one, I think. By one. So most of you can explain or talk about it, and then 7 of you might have challenges with that. Next one. I experienced discrimination, either racism, sexism, heterosexism, classism, on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, or I've never experienced it. Your gut reaction. Interesting. So did everyone respond? Wait, 5, 9, 11. Not everyone responded. Okay. I was too fast. Sorry, I didn't give you too much time, but I was trying to get your gut reaction to some of these questions. It took too long to read. Okay, I'll keep that in mind for the next class. I think this is a representation. Obviously, some people couldn't answer, but there's folks who do experience it for sure, depending on how often. And there's a good percentage of you who've never experienced some of these things. So just keep that in mind. When confronted with an injustice, would you be able to speak out against it? So if there's racism existing, would you speak out against it, or any of the other isms? Okay, so I would call it out, most of you. I would be hesitant. Oh. So half of you would be open to calling it out, half of you would be more hesitant. So, okay, so that's the poll. Now, I asked you to think about or remember some of the responses. And I think some of you are probably reacting, whoa, I didn't realize people think that way, or whoa, I didn't expect that. I think this is the moment where kind of break that down. Let's see, where's my PowerPoint? Oh, man. Did folks enjoy this activity? Yes, no? Okay. I think it was a good activity to kind of reflect upon how we see these things in our lives. Some of us obviously see it more often than others. Some people feel like it doesn't exist. So that's the range of this class, and that's honest and real. And I want to also remind folks that, like how we started last week, we're coming from different places, cities. We grew up in different family backgrounds. So that informs of why we see things or not see things. And through this course, I hope to kind of, on both sides, have deeper understanding of why that's the case. And hopefully y'all are open for that conversation. Let's see. So, got 10 minutes. I'll just open it up. Anyone want to comment on maybe some of the things that were that you noticed in the, I guess, results of the poll? Anything surprise folks? It's a lot to take in, I know, but let's see. I was surprised who experienced discrimination. That's often the the one that people are surprised about. I think, like I said, we all come from different experiences. Some of us experience on a daily basis, and they identified that. Some of us experience weekly or monthly, and some of us don't experience it for whatever reason. And I think it's always a surprise for me too, to see that range. And with this current moment, especially leading up to the inauguration, a lot of things went down. And I think there's a lot of examples there that we could see it, at least on the news. I know not everyone got to do the last question, but I thought it was interesting. No one said they wouldn't call out an ism, even though someone said it was the best. Oh, Maya, did you want to explain or talk about that point that you raised?
Sure. So basically, like going off of that, like if you're gonna say that you don't believe something, but then say that you wouldn't call it out, are you acknowledging then that it does exist? So like that kind of contradicts itself.
Yeah, but that's assuming that that was the same person. But yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It was I think it was anonymous. I hope it was. You probably didn't see who responded, but yeah, having that situation where someone said that it was something of the past, it didn't exist anymore, and then when it does happen, how would you respond to that situation? Is what Maya's bringing up, and that's a great question. Like my parents, they think racism doesn't exist. It was a thing of the past. But how do I explain to them that people get treated unfairly based on their race? And that's hard for them to grasp. And it'll be even harder for them to say, oh, that's wrong. So how do we understand it in our lives today? Other thoughts on this poll? I just want to open up conversation. Anyone?
I could talk again, but just going off of what you were saying about your parents, my grandma, like my Lola, like she was a Trumper, which is a whole other thing, but like getting the older generation to get over like that model minority myth, because I feel like a lot of like my relatives, like my aunties and my titos, like they don't realize like the full extent of everything.
Great example. Family members, for sure, is when you face certain contradictions. My parents are also Trump supporters, so they know what I do. We don't go into heated debates all the time, but there's boundaries for sure. A lot of people were able to explain and define the terms. Oh, okay. So Juliana's raising. People were able to identify it, saying that exists, or a few believe it doesn't exist, for depending on the ism. And in general, people were able to explain it or talk about it most of the time. For those who couldn't explain it, is there reasons why it would be difficult to explain it? Maybe you don't have the education or feel comfortable with explaining it. What are people's thoughts?
I think for me, it's you don't have enough knowledge about it. And so if you were to try to explain it and you don't explain it properly, it's kind of like ruining someone else's interpretation of it as well.
So for some here, it might be yes. It might be like, I'm not sure how to explain it or talk about it, and I don't want to be put in a position where I'm not representing it correctly, I guess. I think in this class, some of you might be coming from that place, and it's okay. I think we're here to learn from each other. And some of us might have different understandings of maybe racism or other isms, and it's okay to be wrong in a sense that we're here to learn, and we might perceive it differently. And because if we take the stance of like, oh, I don't know too much about it, I don't want to put my opinion on it just because I don't want to misrepresent it, that kind of is kind of liberal in the sense that, oh, we can't have a conversation then because no one wants to talk after that, if that's the general consensus in this class. So hopefully we step out of our boundaries. It's okay to have conversations. Maybe if you don't feel like making a statement, have questions to pose where you're clarifying certain points that you kind of know but need to dig deeper about it. That's fine. Questions are always welcomed. So hopefully that's helpful in terms of how we move forward with a lot of issues that we're going to raise in this class. Quick question. Where would we submit the community event? Okay, I'll talk about the stuff, school business stuff later. But I'm not as educated. I don't want to say the wrong thing. So it sounds like that might be a common thing in this class. Like you don't want to say the wrong thing, and I feel you on that. That's again, ask the question like, oh, I'm not too sure about this. This is what I think. This is what my question is. And hopefully that kind of just eases the process where you don't feel like that someone's going to attack you or judge you. And I think coming to that understanding, it seems like a lot of people are still learning about these issues or concepts. So I think knowing that we should be okay to ask questions. So hopefully that's helpful. Cool. So where am I? 2 minutes. We will explain these isms throughout the semester. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And we'll continuously be defining these terms. And I'll break these down next week, but this is a starting point for many of us who feel like they need to be more informed about this stuff. And hopefully throughout, at the end of the semester, you have a way to talk to people about it. And I want to pose this question just to think about. You were initially asked about the characteristics of a hero or a shiro. And something that I want to pose is, would your hero or shiro stand up for, or I mean, stand up against the isms, racism, sexism, heterosexism, and classisms? So the people that you mentioned or thought of as a hero or shiro, would they kind of like oppose these things? So it's just something to keep in mind. And how are folks feeling about week 1? We're done for the week. Did you enjoy this week, at least in this class, or thumbs up? There's a lot to handle in this class or things to kind of work through. What are folks' thoughts? Zoom chat or thumbs up? The book is called Mountain Movers. It should be in the syllabus and on the mod iLearn in terms of the whole author and title. Pretty chill week. Okay, quick. So hopefully you enjoyed this conversations that we had this week. Hopefully you have a better sense of what this class is about and where everyone in this class is coming from, because it will for sure frame our conversations moving forward. Get your book. There's a forum due this week around the student strike. Again, there's the glossary online profile kind of talking about yourself so that we get to know who you are as a person in this class. And forums will be due every Friday. So just FYI, reading and forums next week. So I want to open this up. So there's an event next week on Tuesday at the same time as our class. And it's talking about the ethnic studies movement to establish this curriculum throughout California. And there's various speakers from my the Asian American Studies department and other departments throughout California. We're going to talk about ethnic studies and the fight for it. So I wanted to put it out there. vote if you want to go to this rather than having class, yes or no. So let's try this participants voting thing. I think, oh, is it reaction? How do you vote on this thing? Oh. So in the participants, I thought you could. Okay, I swore you could. Thoughts? Do people want to attend this event rather than having this class? Because it is pretty significant.
When would it count as an event?
This is technically class because it's at the same time. See what are people? Yes. Sounds like people are not opposed to attending this because it's literally at the same time as our class. It's 2 o'clock. Wait, 2 o'clock? No. I was thinking of my other class. This would be, can people attend this at 2 o'clock? If most people can't, then it sounds like we should have class. But if most of us can attend this, I'd rather go to this than go to class. That's my preference, but oh, someone has a class. It's online. I could send you the info. So one person has class. It sounds like it. Someone has lab. So that's 2 out of 25. Anyone else? I also have class. Okay. So 3 out of 25. Oh no. February 2nd. Could we do like a shortened class on February 2nd? Not sure what you're asking there, Maya. Like, oh, you're asking if we still have class that day, but a shortened class, and then people can attend the letter class. Is that what you're asking or suggesting? Okay, it sounds like a lot of people have class at 2. We will have class, and this will now become your extra credit or event for the class. So this is your first opportunity to earn your community event. So does that sound good for folks? Sounds like a lot of people have class at that time. I think that's a compromise. Hopefully that was a democratic process that people were able to suggest things. But it sounds like a good amount of people will be in class, at least 6. Alrighty, so that's the decision. We'll have class still on the 2nd. For those who can't attend the virtual event, it becomes your activism points. So thank you, everyone. That wasn't too bad in terms of decision making. I'll see you all on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Take a break here and there. And I'll see you all next week.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How will you check our name? Oh, knee. Your reflection paper will tell me if you were there or not. I will be there. Cool. So thank you, Juliana. Hi, Juliana.
I have a quick question. I was
Yes.
the one who sent you the email.
Yeah.
How would I, or you just sent me the Zoom link, but would you add me onto the iLearn later on?
So I think, okay, so you know that there's more than 25 of us in the class. And you said you need to take this class to graduate, or is that not you? I got a wait list of 10, so I'm trying to remember everyone's story. I'm open to adding you. I might just have an extra couple. I'll be over enrolled in that case, which means there's a lot of students. If you're okay with that, is the question being packed into a class. I could give you an ad code. I'm trying to remember what number you were on my ad list, but I think it should be okay. I could add a couple people, but I can't add the whole 10 on the wait list. But since you need this to graduate in the spring?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'll consider that too. So remind me.
But pass the spring semester.
Say it again.
To not graduate this spring,
Uh-huh.
but pass the spring semester.
Pass the spring semester. So you're graduating when?
I'm still a freshman.
Oh.
I was saying
Okay.
how in order to pass the semester, I'm required to take an Area E class.
Really? They require it per semester now?
Yeah, I found a little.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Because I have seniors coming in here trying to take the class because they need the requirement. That's why I asked. It's like, oh, you're going to graduate. I need you. I don't want you to stay here next semester. But now they're requiring it. Huh. I'll check in about that. But okay. I'll email me again and I'll reply with the ad code.
What, like resend the email to you, or?
Yeah, just said we talked after class. I have 5 classes, so just for my organization, just remind me so I could respond to your email because I've been sending ad codes to various classes. So that will help me a lot. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
And then as soon as you add, I don't know how automatic it is to get into iLearn, but it's, I think within 24 hours, I hope. Okay. So yeah, cool. You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.